Are you ready to take your business to the top? Well, strap in and hold on tight. You're listening to the Top of the Wall podcast from Redwall Marketing. Business and marketing strategies to lift you above the competition and over the wall of mediocrity. Now, here's your host, J.R. Griggs.
Hey everyone, it's JR here with episode 16 coming at you. I can't believe we've already got on 16, 15 done, 16 being done right now. And today we're talking about a topic that I can't emphasize enough. It's something that I'll repeat on a constant basis because it's a really powerful idea that if you can grasp in your business, it's going to be hard to fail. If you've got a product that the market wants, let me at least put in that disclaimer there. If you operate your business under this core value, you're gonna go far. You're gonna have a lot of success, and it's something I just wish more businesses really studied and took to heart. And that is just the idea that it's something that I don't know if I coined this phrase or not. I don't know. But it's the customer's always first. I've said quite often that the customer isn't always right, and I don't like that. I don't like that phrase because it gets confused. It gets misinterpreted. See, the customer is always right was designed to mean even when they're wrong, you'll make it right. But it gets misinterpreted as an employee thinking, well, they must be wrong because the customer's always right. So whatever the customer says goes. It starts to build a resentment towards the customer that they're always right, that the employee's wrong or the business is wrong. And so it's just to me, it is a bad way to say it. But if you look at it as the customer is always first, it doesn't matter who's right or wrong at that point. I'm going to put them first. It doesn't accuse anybody of being wrong or accuse anybody or confirm that anybody's right. And you can put this idea into your employees and have them understand that, look, it's not about whether you're right or you're wrong or the customer's right or wrong, but we're going to find a way to put them first. We're going to, put their needs, wants, desires, opinions, emotions first before we make any decisions. We're going to design our business not based on the customer being right, and so things have to be a certain way, but because the customer's first, we're going to design it around what makes the customer happiest, what gives the customer the best experience from our business. And that's huge. That right there is huge. If you follow that principle, you're going to have happy customers, loyal customers, customers that want to talk about you. You're going to have a thriving business because you've taken their needs, their desires, which is what it's about, right? I mean, nobody cares about your business unless it's serving a need or a purpose, unless it's fulfilling something, unless it's making somebody happy. They don't care if it's not needed, right? They don't care. It's not about you. It's about the customer. That's why your business exists, to provide a service or product to a customer. So if you put the customer first, it can really change your perception of how you deal with problems, how you design your business, how you deal with customer complaints. And I want to look at some great examples of customer service that's just blown away a customer's expectations and created really viral stories, almost legends that, you almost have to confirm, you have to call and confirm with these businesses, hey, did this really happen? Because they're that cool of a story. And so it's worth looking at these examples and getting an understanding of, how you can apply this to your business, how you can put the customer first and apply these to your business. I'm currently going through a book right now called Made to Stick. And it's about ideas and how they stick and how some don't. Some stick, some don't. How do these ideas, how do urban legends become so popular? How do they spread? How do they take hold and get told over and over again? Old wives' tales. How do these ideas and stories stick so that they stand the test of time. And one great example was we're heading into October right now. This is my favorite, probably my favorite month of the year, I guess you could call it, simply because it starts fall. Everybody loves fall. I don't know a lot of people that don't like fall, but fall is just a great time of year. Temperatures are dropping. We're in Florida, so anytime the temperatures are heading downward, that is just a good thing all around. So, we don't get a lot of leaves changing color here, but, fall really is a nice time of year. So we start to cool off, and we've got the holidays coming up. You kick off the holidays, which is awesome. You got Halloween coming, which happens to be my birthday. So I've always been fond of October, always been fond of Halloween, just because it's my birthday. So it's really kind of stuck. Well, in the book they talk about how we check candy and how this story spread that Halloween candy was being poisoned and infused with drugs, and kids were dying and finding razor blades in their candy and all this rumor. And so ever since I was a kid, we weren't allowed to have our candy until our parents checked the candy. And I remember that. And I still do it today. Kids come home, we check the candy. We don't go nuts, but I'll look at the wrapper and make sure it doesn't look like it's been opened or doesn't have any holes where, something might have been injected in it. Well, you've probably heard this, or maybe you went through the same thing. Maybe you had the same childhood I did, where you couldn't eat candy till your mom and dad checked it. Apparently, going through Made to Stick, that story was started, but never started because of an actual incident where kids came home with candy from the neighborhood and it was poisoned in any way or tampered in any way. The two stories that they could find on it were both family members that did something to their own kids' candy. It was sad, but that was the story. But there were no cases at the time of writing the book of a stranger, or anybody, getting candy that was laced with drugs or anything else. There was no story. So how did this story stick? How did it spread? How is it still being told? And how are parents still believing that happens when it turns out that chances are you're going to be just fine? Now, I'll probably still check my kids' candy. It's just a habit, and it doesn't take long to quickly look at their candy and make sure it hasn't been opened. And so we'll probably still do that. But how did that story stick? How did it get out there? And it was, bottom line was, there's science behind getting people to follow an idea, visualize an idea. And so the story goes even further into the book. They cover more, and I'll probably do a podcast just on this book because it's a really, really great book so far. But the what I'm leading to here is the part I'm at now is talking about how some companies take ideas and they want to get them to stick with their employees. And so an idea that you could use to stick with your employees is the customer is always first. And in the book, they talk about Nordstrom, which is obviously a high-end apparel company. Well, I say obviously, but if you don't know Nordstrom, it's a high-end apparel company. They, their customer base is obviously more in the higher-end scale, wealthy, but they started off with an idea of, basically putting the customer first. I don't know the exact phrase that was used or the exact idea that was used, but the thing was they wanted to be known for their customer service. Zappos is another great company to look up, by the way, if you're interested in stories about customer service. We'll talk a little bit about them as well. But Nordstrom put this idea into they just drilled it into their employees. Customer service. We want to blow away the expectations of all of our customers. That is the foundation of this business. Now think about this. If you just start with that idea, the customer's always first, or blowing away their expectations, whatever, it should rule and dominate anything else you do. Everything. If everything's based on that rule, it should be easy to make decisions and get things done. If the employees understand that the customer is always first, that the customer needs to be blown away in expectations, it should help them understand how clean the bathroom needs to be, how clean the aisles need to be, how organized everything needs to be, how easy the checkout process needs to be. If the customer's first, if we're blowing away their expectations, we shouldn't have any problem putting together proper practices and systems to do that, right? Well, Nordstrom did this and has been known for several stories of just great customer service and blowing away their customers' expectations. And let me show you a good couple examples of how this has worked, and it's just spread. These stories have spread, and this is what they're known for, and it's made customers happy. It's made them continue to come back, and it's because they put the customer first. One of the examples was a simple story of a customer leaving their bags out in the parking lot of the store. One of the employees went out, found this bag. In the bag apparently was the receipt as well as tickets for the airport. And so this employee, knowing that it was a big deal to blow away the customer's expectations, drove to the airport and had the airport staff page the customer to let them know that he had her bags. He brought them to the airport. Okay, customer was obviously blown away by this, that an employee left the Nordstrom store, drove to the airport with her bags that she thought were long gone because she couldn't return back to the store. Somebody might have stolen them. She's got to get on a flight, and there's her stuff that she just bought at the airport with her because an employee took the time to go there. Another story that's out there at Nordstrom was a customer came in, bought a shirt, needed it like that day, and was kind of in a panic because they needed to wear this shirt to a meeting or to a presentation or whatever it was. All the shirts were wrinkled because the way they're folded, they had lines in them from the folding. Well, this employee that was helping them decided, okay, pick out a shirt and I'll get it ironed. And went and they had an iron there that they used, went and ironed the shirt for the customer. Is that a big deal? No. Does the employee need to do that? Would the customer be right to complain that the shirts are all wrinkled? Not really, right? I mean, it's the way the shirts come in. It's not uncommon that you buy a shirt and it needs to be ironed because it's folded in a certain way. But this employee went the extra mile and said, well, I'm going to put the customer first. I'm going to take some time to go find an iron. I'm going to iron this thing. Or I'm going to put the customer first and I'm going to go to the airport and get them their bags because they're on a flight. This is nuts. They just bought this. Is the customer always right? If the customer demanded that you drive my stuff to the airport? No, they left it in the parking lot, right? It was their mistake. But this employee went the extra mile because they put the customer first. Another great story at Nordstrom is a customer that came in. I believe it was an elderly customer, came into the store, and these are confirmed stories, by the way, like verified with Nordstrom that these actually happened. A customer had bought tires at a store that the Nordstrom now occupied the space of. So the store that was there went out of business. Nordstrom moved in, and the customer showed up, and it's Nordstrom. So they walk in thinking, okay, well, this is where I bought the tires. I was here. This is where I bought the tires. Walks in and wants to return these tires. And, after a little bit of discussion and the employee saying, well, hey, we're not a tire store. We don't sell tires. The manager's called in and the customer's explaining the situation, but this is where I bought the tires. I don't know where the other store went. The manager decided to refund the customer and took the tires, even though they don't sell tires. They refunded the tires because was the customer right? No, the customer was not right. It's the wrong store. The store might have gone out of business. He needs to go track down whatever store it was, see if they have another location, or deal with it that way. Go the legal route. Whatever they have to do, it's not Nordstrom's problem, right? But the manager took it on himself to make it their problem, put the customer first, and say, hey, you know what? we'll go ahead and refund these. Not only is that customer happy, but the story has spread and people hear of Nordstrom's, dedication to putting the customer first. So those are great examples of the customer was not right in either one of those situations. The customer was not right to leave their stuff in the parking lot. The customer was not right to need a perfectly ironed shirt. The customer was not right to return tires to a store that does not sell tires. But in all three cases, Nordstrom put the customer first instead and blew away their expectation by doing whatever it took to make them happy. Those are examples that should inspire you in your business to say, hey, how do I do the same thing? How do I put the customer first? Not necessarily right. What examples can you have right now? Just think, what examples do you have right now? Think back to times that you've handled the customer who was wrong, and you could have handled it better by just saying, hey, you know what? They're not right, but I'm going to put them first, and I'm going to do something, that blows away their expectation. I mean, you could have probably tons of times that you could easily do that, right? You could easily say, hey, I'm going to, I could have done this better, and I'm going to do it better in the future, right? There's other good examples. There's a story about Trader Joe's where there was a storm. There was a 89-year-old woman who was snowed in. Or no, it was a man. He was snowed in, and his daughter was calling around trying to find a place that could deliver some groceries because he wouldn't go out in the snow. There was a lot of snow. Driveway was not shoveled. He's not able to pull out his car. He's certainly not going to walk. And how she was calling around trying to find a place that would deliver some groceries because he needed food. And after calling around, nobody would do it. Finally, she got a hold of a Trader Joe's who does not deliver and explained to her that she does not deliver or that they do not deliver. When she explained why she was so concerned, one of the employees decided to go ahead and not only deliver the food, but they brought $50 worth of food at no charge to her father, who was, again, snowed in, couldn't get out, brought $50 worth of food to him so that he had food to survive through the next few days and, make it out when the weather cleared, and basically said, hey, it's a, Merry Christmas from us. Was the customer right if they were to demand delivery? No. But Trader Joe's went the extra mile, and now here I am talking about it, and other people have talked about it, right? So they went the extra mile. There's a story of one of the common ones out there is the Sainsbury's bread, where they had a 3-year-old, I think, sent in a letter saying that their tiger bread didn't look like a tiger. The design in the crust, it looked more like a giraffe, and explained that, why is it called tiger bread? The employee wrote back with a gift card, thanking for the observation, saying, hey, you know what? It does look like a giraffe. You're right. It does look like a giraffe. Explained why it was called tiger bread. Eventually, there was this whole thing. The mom posted it online, and they ended up changing the name of it to giraffe bread rather than tiger bread, because this 3-year-old kid pointed out that it looks like a giraffe, and it actually does. I'm looking at a picture of it right now. The spots on the bread. Look up giraffe bread. Just Google giraffe bread. I'm sure you'll find it. It looks like a giraffe, and you'll probably find the story. But again, this is a great example of a 3-year-old customer that took the time to write in, and apparently they must shop there enough that the customer noticed it and sent something in, and it's a 3-year-old. Could have just ignored it, but they didn't. They decided to put the customer first and make them happy, and move on from there. There's tons of stories online, tons of them. I mean, I'm reading through a bunch that I took note of right here. I don't want to go through all of them, but there's just a ton of these. There's Lego sending a kid, he lost a Lego at a store, even though his dad told him not to bring the minifigure to the store because he could lose them. I've done that with my son, and he's lost them. The kid wrote in a letter apologizing to Lego that he lost the Lego, and his dad was upset, or that he was upset that he lost it, and his dad told him not to. And Lego ended up sending him another one and a little story and some bonus items. And that spread all over the internet because of what Lego did. So not only does it blow away your customers, but it causes other people to see what you're doing. Morton's Steakhouse. I'm bringing this one here. A customer tweeted to Morton's, "Can you meet me at the Newark airport with a porterhouse when I land in 2 hours? Thanks." And it was a sarcastic tweet. It was totally sarcastic. Gets off the plane in Newark, and there's a guy holding a sign delivering a steak to him right out of the airport. Okay, they didn't need to do that, but they did. Apple has a story here where an iPad was returned, and the note for why he was requesting a refund of the iPad basically just said, it was a simple Post-it note. Wife said no. That was it. He gets back in the mail after his refund went through. He gets back in the mail a week later, the same iPad with a Post-it on it that says Apple said yes. So he got the refund and the free iPad. Just a great example of reaching out and just blowing away a customer with customer service. Zappos is another one. If you want to look up the story of Zappos or read the book, Delivering Happiness. Delivering Happiness by Tony Hsieh is a book about the how Zappos was started and some of the things they did and the vision they had and how they started handling customer service. That's another great book that's it's worth reading about customer service, because Zappos was really big on customer service, shipping things as fast as they could, refunding no questions asked when needed, doing just the random things. They've even had employees. They drilled it into their employees that, hey, customer comes first. We treat them with respect and treat them like gold. They've done things like helped customers find a local business that had something they needed. Helped deliver flowers. They've done all kinds of stories. You look up the stories of Zappos customer service and see what they've done. As great examples of how to put the customer first. But without getting into too many stories here, I think you get the idea. Nordstrom didn't need to take back tires. There's no need to deliver a steak to an airport. There's no need for any of that. But really, it's about stopping everything that's going on around you, looking at your customers, and just thinking of opportunities, looking for those opportunities to really blow them away. And they exist on a constant basis. If you're really paying attention, they exist. They're there. Is it the right thing to do? Well, not necessarily. You could just run your business and never do any of that. There's no need to do any of it. There's no need to deliver a steak. Shoot, if the steak never showed up, that customer was not expecting it. They would have gotten on their next flight or whatever, gone home. I don't know if they live there. And life would have gone on. No big deal. You wouldn't have lost a customer. But they decided to blow away the expectations and surprise them with a steak. There was no need to respond to a 3-year-old's letter about your bread. No need. It would have just passed by with a 3-year-old venting silly things about the bread. But they did. And now they're famous for the story. Returning snow tires or delivering things to the airport. It doesn't matter. Start thinking, number one, the customer's always first. So how do you put them first? How do you do things regardless of how it changes or what it costs or changes the profit on that particular sale? Put the customer first. That's the first thing you need to get into your head, your employees' heads. Make that the mission for your company, and don't worry about who's right. If you make that little change, just that little change, you're going to see drastic results in customer loyalty, referrals, and just, I'm telling you right now, profits go up from putting the customer first. You just have a better experience. But on top of that, the customer's always first should be how you design your store and how you handle situations. But it should also be how you just monitor daily activities in the business. Just look for ways. How do I blow away their expectations today? How do I be remarkable today? How do we do something completely unexpected for them today? And you'll find those little opportunities, like delivering a steak to an airport. You'll find those little moments where you can, do something above and beyond what the customer ever expected. And today, it's far easier to do this. There's so many tools available. For one, for monitoring. Social media allows you to monitor what your customers are saying. Be there for them. Be available for them to chat with you, to send you that message jokingly, can you drop off a steak at the airport? To message you that they can't find a particular product and you can jump in and be the hero. Be that hero. That's how business is done today. That's how things are done. It is, small town principles. You're no longer, doesn't matter how big your city is, social media and the tools that are available have shrunk that down to where you can really blow away customers' expectations, and they can tell the world about it in a single tweet, because that's all it takes sometimes, a single tweet. Look what they did. And it gets picked up by everybody else. It gets picked up by the media, and it spreads. So you have a chance to blow away your customers and just send a message to the world that that's how we do business. We put the customer first. So hopefully this is just an idea that you can grasp. We're going to talk about it a lot more because it's something that really it should be behind every business practice. So you'll hear this idea from me a lot more. Put the customer first. I don't like that they're always right. I just think it's a horrible way to look at it, but they are always first. So put the customer first. Find ways to blow away their expectations and handle problems better. And I promise you, that principle alone will do wonders for your business, far beyond any tactic I can point out for you. Far beyond any tactic or strategy I can name. Focus on the customer, put them first, and I promise you, you will see better returns out of your customers, out of your business, the customer loyalty, happiness. And you know what? Employees will probably have fun with it too. Obviously, it's not always going to work out to be the greatest story in the world. But if you operate under that principle that the customer's always first, you can make huge changes in your business and start thinking back. What times have you done things that should be different now? What have you done differently, or what could you have done differently in the past? Look at some examples and see where you could have improved or done something better if you just went to the principle that the customer's always first and blew away their expectation. So that's it for today. Beginning of October, enjoy the month. Again, it's probably my favorite month of the year besides maybe December, but we're heading into October here, and hopefully you're having a great fourth quarter. Hopefully you had a great first 3 quarters of the year. This is, fourth quarter, time to, put on the boost, man. Get whatever you guys can for the rest of the year going, and really focus on your business and finish strong. Very important.
Thanks for listening to the Top of the Wall podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the great episodes coming up for you. For more resources and tools to take your business to the top, visit redwallmarketing.com.